we have any questions directly to the Minister? Don't be shy. I have one down the front. Thank you.
Nick Dickinson, Metro Trains. Good afternoon, Minister. The question is really around career choices and the support we give within the education system around students making decisions around that. What are your views around when we should be starting to help students with regards to where they can take their lives? My opinion is we may need to go a little bit further down the food chain, because people are making career decisions based on what they're being educated in, whereas perhaps we should be thinking a little bit longer term in secondary school.
Yeah, thanks Nick. It's a good question. I think I was about 35 when I decided I was going to get involved in politics as a career. So I don't know that it happens at any one point, to be perfectly honest. You've got to be flexible about these things, and you know, I think if every person in this room would have gone through a number of careers in their time. Look, there's no doubt that you know, you should start in schools. There should be, you know, better career advice, better advice through there. But the truth of it is that, you know, young people often don't make up their mind what they want to do till later. You know, boys in particular. Girls are often a bit younger, they mature a bit earlier, but boys, you know, they're in their 20s and they suddenly decide to get serious about life. So I think it's a complex question. We do need better career options in schools, but you know, we set up these skills and job centres as places that people could just walk in off the street and get some really good advice. They can get an iPad. You can go to Northland right now, walk in off the street, someone will see you. I think there's 7 or 14 languages spoken there. You've got an iPad or a computer, and you can go in there and have a look at a whole heap of options, where they lead, talk to someone. And I think that's the way we need to be, and we need to just be at each point in a person's life. I know you're doing stuff with the reskilling the auto industry. You know, there are people in the auto industry that have been working there 30, 40 years. They're in their 40s and 50s. They're going to have a new job. And they're thinking, what will I do? How do I use my skills? Well, we need to be there at that point. So I guess in answer, what I'd say is a flexible system with many points of advice, where people can come in when they're at that point in their life and get it, and let's start at school.
You seem to dazzle people with science, Minister, as always.
There we go, back there.
Thank you.
G'day Minister, Andrew Dempster, Swinburne University of Technology. How are you? Just to pick up on your comments at the end of your speech in relation to what you were hoping to see from the federal government on vet fee help reform, can I just press you a little bit on that? What sort of reforms would you like to see come out of Simon Birmingham on that? He's talking pretty tough about private providers and cleaning up the system, but what sort of changes do you think would help support Victoria's changes coming out of that?
Thanks, Andrew. I'm an old Swinburne alumni, so it's one of my favourite dual sector institutions, and I went to a tech school and then through a diploma, so you know, it works, doesn't it? Doing a great job there, and you've got a fabulous Vice-Chancellor doing really innovative things. Look, I guess Ali G says, you know, keep it real, and that's what I'd say to Simon. You know, I think he's clearly, and he's got a passion for the area. He clearly wants to do something, but you've got to be thorough. You've got to be consistent. Don't just look at the headlines. Look at where the end result is down the track. You know, vet fee help. Even with the changes they made last year, the quick fix to try and get it off the front page of the papers. You know, there are providers out there earning $1 million a completion. Well, tell me how that works in a government-funded system. It doesn't. So what I would say is they need to do what we did, have a thorough review, independent review of the system. They need to link the system more toward the needs of the economy and students, not the needs of providers, to be honest. They need to have realistic funding rates like they do in HECS, and they need to just drag the system into a far more regulated, linked system to industry's needs, state needs, and true costs of provision. And I think quality providers would love that too, because you know, right now you've got people out there charging $30,000 for a course that probably ought to be 10, you know, on any scale, and that's not good use of public money. So what I'd say is get an independent reviewer in, have a really good look at it, cut through the various aspects of it, prepare new legislation and get it right, don't just tinker.
Minister, regrettably, we may have to leave it there, but could I, on behalf of all of us here, thank you for two things. Firstly, for the passion that you enjoy, obviously, in your chosen field as a minister, and how you display that when you come to presentations like this. But secondly, for being the public face of the release of CEDA's research report today. We think that, as I said, good public policy outcomes are determined by having a clear vision as to where the sector needs to be. You clearly have that here in Victoria. We wish you every success in championing that further, not only here, but with your colleagues around the COAG reform process and around the COAG table in getting the federal government interested in that review that we've talked about, and certainly certainty of funding that will come after next year. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking the Minister.